Hey everyone, if I hadn't mentioned it before or you're new to this channel, um, I love to listen to books. I have a huge library in the house of books that I've read, but when I drove to work every day, it was an hour and a half each way, and so I listened to a lot of books. Now that I'm working remotely, I don't have that opportunity as much, so the book contents have gone down quite a bit, the number of books that I listen to. But I'm currently listening to We the People by Jill Lepore. It is a history of the U.S. Constitution. It's fascinating to hear what went into the Constitution and the history around the battles to get the Constitution not only ratified, but to get it written in the first place. It's a good-sized book. So if you're interested in the history of the Constitution and the contention that happened around all of that, pick yourself up a copy. I bring it up because I'm listening to it now, and I think it's a good read. That said, I want to do a little update on progress. The solar panel setup that I have has reached its almost final stage at this point. To refresh, I have a 4-panel set and a 2-panel set. So they're 100-watt panels each. So one's capable of 400 and the other's capable of 200 watts. They're hooked together so that the amperage stays the same, but the wattage goes up. And I still have my solar tracker that has to be put together and put up, and that is not going to happen this year. But the 4-panel was originally put into a frame made for a top of an RV. The way those work is they're designed so that it would lay flat on the top of the RV and then get ratcheted up so that the sun could hit them. I threw all of that out and mirrored what I did with the 2-panel setup. And basically, I took a garage hinge. Now, if you've ever seen a garage hinge, it differs from a normal hinge in that it has a tube in between both halves. All right, so it's not like you see on a hinge on a door. It needed to have more swing to it, so it has a tube in there. That tube is just the right diameter for me to put a 3/4 inch metal rod through. It's a steel rod that they use for attaching hitches. You know, if you've got a tractor and you're pulling a cart behind you, you're going to lock it into place, but there's another, either a secondary setup that you use besides chains to lock it in place, or the primary are these pins. They have a cotter pin on the other side, so it locks that into place so the pin's not going to pop out. And you just slap it into place. The frame that the RV unit had has holes in it that are just too small. So out comes the drill bit, 3/4 inch drill, pop that hole through there. One side went smooth as butter. This is a cobalt drill bit going through aluminum, so as you can imagine, it went through very smoothly. Yet the other one did not. It didn't have quite the same anchoring to it, so it had more vibration. So it took longer to get that one through. But once you had the 3/4 holes in there, the pins dropped in place. Then it was just a matter of a 2-step process that had to happen. The first was the panel, now being disconnected from everything, could fall forward, which wasn't going to work for me. So I needed to create a harness to hold the panel to myself so I would go over with it. Doing a 2-person job by yourself is not always the best situation, but the 4-panel has a good amount of weight to it because it was just keeping it from tipping forward. There wasn't much to push against me as I was sliding it up. Second thing was a block and tackle. Block and tackle hooked down to the bottom of the panels, and I could just pull on the rope to slide it up to the height that I needed to. And as soon as I got it in the height, I could just slap those pins home and we're done. So the panel is up. It's anchored to where it needs to be. It's pulled out by ropes right now just to get it to the proper angle for the time being. And that's why I say I'm mostly done. The final pieces for both panels are getting in the actuators so that they can be electrically moved up and down. Right now I have to go out and make the adjustments by hand, and there isn't anything to lock it into place anymore. The other thing was, when it had the other framework, the inside frame, you could put arms in place to lock the panels. Now, that's not to say that I can't put something else in place to hook the arm to and still use the arms, but I want to use actuators instead. And what that'll allow me to do is to go out, put the level on the panel itself. I have a magnetic level, lock that onto the panel, and then I can just push the button and make the panel move up to the height or down to the height, so that the digital display shows me that I'm at the angle that I wanted to be at that particular time of the year. I have the one unit out there. I've got to put, I'm going to move that around, put a secondary unit on that. It can carry more weight than is necessary, but I want to hedge my bets a little bit here. I'm going to do the same with the other dual panel. I have a longer throw on that because that one's going to be going out to the bottom, whereas the one that I've got right now is going into the midpoint. The 2-panel is a side-by-side portrait format. The 4-panel is a 2-up, 2-down landscape format. So by putting it in the middle, it doesn't come down the panel as far as the first one does. So it gives me a little bit more angle that I can get in there. Come winter, when I have to drop the thing just about flat and go down to almost 90 degrees, I'm just going to go through and disconnect both of the actuators. Now, the thing is, both actuators are pin-based, so they've got a cotter pin, one of the cheap throwaway types, unfortunately. So those are probably going to get destroyed every year, but we'll see. Maybe I can find something else that I can use for a cotter pin situation there. But those pins will get pulled out. The units can get folded up, and they can either be taken down and brought in for the winter, or they can be left out and left in place. It's just we're going to have to fold them up. So the one pair that I've got, it's going to make sense to fold it down and take them in, I think mostly. Neither of them are going to be folded under the deck. I don't quite have a way of doing that. The one's going to be on the deck itself, attached. That's the one up for the 2-throw. So there's going to be these 2 very long actuators. They go out to over 3 feet, and that will swing up the bottom part of that actuator. That pair of panels. The other pair of panels coming in from the middle. I think I can get away with just attaching them directly to the 4x4s. I've got to check. There's a little bit of an overhang, and I don't want to go so far as to allow the 4x4 to split. So I have to make sure that I've got enough material in place to allow that to swing out. So I may put a cross piece in on the other unit and do it that way, as opposed to doing it from the outside edges. I've just got to figure out which one's going to work the best and be the best long-term solution for this. But those go into place, and then I'll be able to push a button. Having 2 actuators on each, again, is more than enough weight. The actuators on the first part, I think, are good for about 150 pounds for the 2, and the ones for the back are good at lifting a 300-pound weight. So neither of them come close to those weight limits, so the panels will swing smoothly. I did try one out last year on the 4-panel, and it worked perfectly well. The only downside was because of where it was attached at the bottom, and it being a short throw, it could only bring the panel up so far. Then I had to go by hand the rest of the way. But we are making progress with that particular configuration. In addition to that, I've been working on some programming, basically geocoding locations so that I can put them on a map. and mapping that all with Python to create an interactive map. For this particular instance, I'm trying to create a map that lists all of the DMR repeaters, the linked UHF repeaters, all the hospitals, all the local healthcare offices in the state of Vermont, and putting it all on one map so that we can see visually what the relationship is of each hospital to the repeater and what's close to it and what may or may not work. Now, it's not topographical, so if anybody's familiar with radio operation, height and distance matter. Specifically, is there something between you and whatever you're trying to transmit to? But having the heights of the different antennas changes the range that they can hit, unless somebody's in a valley, in which case it causes other issues because now you can overshoot, if you will. So trying to work that out. At some point, I will probably put our radio operators on that list as well for an internal use, and that will allow us to see where people are in relationship to the hospitals and where they are in relationship to repeaters. Not doing the full band of repeaters for this cycle. There is a bigger list of repeaters that I can grab and utilize. But the goal here is to try to see, from an emergency communication standpoint, who's closest to the hospital, because that'll be the quickest person to get there. It'll also mean the people that are most familiar with that community. All right, so if we're talking about anything emergency-based or anything at all like this, it's really community-based. You want them to be as close to the community as possible so that they're familiar with what's going on in that community. And it also gives us the best travel time. Who can get that hospital online as quickly as possible? Again, all of this is hypothetical. All of it's theoretical. All of it is, we hope it never, ever gets used. But having a way to for me anyway, being able to visualize where people are located, where they're located in relationship to the hospitals, where the hospitals are located with relationship to each other, and the repeaters, helps me figure out where everything needs to be or exists. And plans based around things can now have a visual component to it for me to see where it is. For example, my travel time to get on site to the hospital that I serve is over an hour. Assuming that the roads are traversable, assuming there aren't any other issues of me getting there, it's still going to be over an hour for me to get out the door and up to the hospital and get it activated. So knowing these snippets helps planning things. And for me, it's one thing to say how long it's going to take or to say what the distance is. I'd rather be able to see it, drop it on a map, and get a feel for what the area is going to look like and what the plan is going to look like. Well, that's what I got for you guys this week. Next week, back up to do a little more event photography. So probably won't have as much update on the stuff here, but we'll see how it goes for next week, and I'll talk to you all then.